farm, kind of laid back, ain't much an old country boy that he can't hack. Early to rise, early in the sack. Thank God I'm a country boy. Well, a simple kind of life never did me no harm. Raising me a family working on the farm. Days are all filled with an easy country charm. Thank God I'm a country boy. Well, I got me a fine life, I got me old fiddle. When the sun's coming up, I got cakes on the griddle. Life ain't nothing but a funny, funny riddle. Thank God I'm a country boy. When the work's all done and the sun sets low, pull out the fiddle and rosin up the bow. Gets her all asleep, so we'll keep her kind of low. Thank God I'm a country boy. I'd play Sally Gooden all day if I could, but Lord, if my wife wouldn't take it very good. So I fiddle when I can, work when I should. Thank God I'm a country boy. Well, I got me a fine life, I got me old fiddle. When the sun's coming up, I can cakes on the griddle. Life ain't nothing but a funny, funny riddle. Thank God I'm a country boy.
Words that describe Phil Ullum.
Competitive.
Borderline psychotic.
Unique and one of a kind.
Maybe not borderline.
I think I'll have to use two words. Sentimental juggernaut.
Brilliant.
The word polymath. Essentially is a term for somebody who has a wide range of interest and a deep knowledge in lots of different things.
Unpredictable.
Well read.
One word describing Phil would be volatile. One word describing Phil would be passionate. One word describing Phil would be self-determining. One word describing Phil would be self-aware. One word describing Phil would be ardent. One word describing Phil would be fervid. One word describing Phil would be caring.
Incapable of understanding time.
I'm going to go with loyal. If you've been privileged enough to claim Phil Ullum as your friend, then you understand that he always has your back. And he always shows complete and continuous support for his friends, and that has actually been a true blessing in my life.
But one of the best mentors I have had in my lifetime.
Well, what other senior consultant would be late for a meeting in Ann Arbor and decide with a senior practice leader from Group and Healthcare and himself and myself to leave the parking lot of Towers Watts, at the time Watson Wyatt, leave the parking lot, and instead of going out on the Northwestern Highway, would actually go behind the little trees there along the edge of a marsh and drive right onto 696 headed west towards Ann Arbor. That's unique and one of a kind.
All right, so after the merger, Phil came up with GPI, glitches, problems, and irritations. I just want to know, when's it going to end, Phil?
So, my best memory of Phil Ullum is a few years ago, where I just randomly sent him an email and said, "Hey Phil, can we wear jeans between Christmas and New Year's?" So he agreed. However, he sent that email to the whole country saying that because of Barb Brown, we could wear jeans for that entire week. I would imagine it was quite interesting to see all of the people that came back and replied to the email to me saying, "Thanks, Barb Brown." So I was instantaneously famous. Thanks, Phil.
Phil, congratulations. I hope everything you do in the future is a huge success, and I tell you, I will miss your sweater vests.
So one day, Phil was educating Vicki and I on the process he uses for memorization, which was extremely complex and complicated. And Vicki and I just kind of stared at him, blank looks on our faces. But of course, to him, it was so easy. After he got done, he left the room, comes back about 10 seconds later and says, "Have you seen my glasses?" Yeah, they were on his shirt.
My favorite Philism, or the one I hear most often, is, "You're a dime holding up a dollar, Vargo."
You've played many different roles in the Detroit office, and I feel really lucky to have been a part of that. You've been a great consultant, teacher, mentor, motivator. but one of your most memorable roles was that of chicken salesman. It was a legendary period at Towers Watson when you were selling chickens to associates, and those skills will serve you well in retirement. And so if you find yourself with your 401k balance dwindling and your pension check no longer covering your expenses, we're here for you. We'll buy your chickens, as long as they're organic and humanely raised.
My memory is you were the one and only person who ever asked me who my favorite author was in a job interview. And I don't know if you remember my answer, but it was Pierre Berton, a noble Canadian who wrote The Last Spike. Thank goodness you're a history buff, or I probably wouldn't be here today making this video.
The best advice was probably joining the firm. Definitely joining the firm. Best move I ever made.
The one thing that I really have always felt about Phil is that I could go into his office at any time with any problem, no matter how small or how monumental, and he would take the time to listen. And even if I was struggling with self-doubt, I could go in there without fear of judgment, and he would give me terrific, sage, and thoughtful advice.
I benefited not from advice you gave to me directly, but the advice you gave to my predecessor to actually go and work for a client, because it gave me the opportunity to be where I'm sitting today. So thanks a lot for that.
Vicki, is there any banana in my teeth? I was just eating a banana. Okay. Well, you asked me to tell you about the first time I met Phil, and that's when he interviewed me for this job. And when it was close to the end of the interview, what I said to him was, Phil, if you could sum up the culture at then Watson Wyatt in just one sentence, what would you say? And he was quiet for about 5 minutes. And then he said, I would sum it up as a group of smart people, but eccentric people, who are willing to tolerate each other's eccentricities. And I thought, that is the place for me.
We're doing a finalist presentation for an actuarial relationship, and he introduced me with a tremendous third-party endorsement, which was undeserved, but definitely helped us win the work and set me up to be successful going forward in the relationship. 20 years later, but I still remember it.
I'd like to give Mr. Olam a taste of his own medicine. So you ready, Phil? Here's the scenario. The CEO of your largest client just called you. The VP of HR just got hit by a friggin' bus. The CEO wants you to present to the board in 2 minutes the 5-year strategic plan for the HR organization. You have 30 seconds to prepare. Ready? Go!
A book recommended by Phil, The Reckoning by David Halberstam, the story of the auto industry in the United States.
Over the years, Phil has asked us all to read a ton of books, but one of the most memorable ones that he asked me to read was back in like 1996, and the title of the book was Dress for Success. Seriously?
Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I thought was really good, and it's evident that that's one that he pays attention to, and like I think he told us he reads it like once a year.
The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and I want to thank you for that suggestion. The second time I read it, it was much better. I enjoyed it much more than the first time, and I've had an opportunity to recommend it to others as well. So thank you so much for that suggestion.
Over the years, Phil has suggested dozens and dozens of books that I should read. Everything from business books to sports to philosophy, you name it, history, and I can honestly say that I pretty much never read any of them.
Hey, before you leave, I want my books back.
Enjoy your retirement, and I look forward to staying connected with you. Thank you so much for everything you've done. It's been great.
Hi Phil, it's Chelsea. Do you remember when you gave Danita this DVD? Well, she snuck and she gave it to me, and I still have it. I'm sorry that I have it, but I'm going to return it now, I promise. I'm glad it's not an overdue book where I probably owe you a lot of money by now. Happy retirement. Congratulations. You will be missed. All of your passion and all of your Mission Impossibles. Take care.
Phil, congratulations on your retirement. Of course, there are many stories I could tell about the early years in account management. One of my favorite was when you had me come up to Detroit and you shared version 1.0 of the AM competency model. that tool became something which the whole firm built a lot of the tools and processes for account management that are still in use today. Thanks for all your contributions and all my best.
Phil, you're one of a kind. I've really appreciated the way you always tell it like it is and speak your mind without regard to political correctness, maybe even aiming for a little bit of incorrectness. Your historical, immense knowledge, perspectives, and our discussions have always been a welcome break.
Phil, before you leave, please leave me your phone number, because if I ever do get a chance to go on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, as I always say, you're going to be my lifeline phone friend. Goodbye.
Phil, I'm going to really miss you a lot. You've been my history teacher, my librarian, my friend, my lawyer. Just goes on. I'm really going to miss you.
I hope you enjoy your time in retirement and you get to experience a lot of Ohio State victories, except for when they're playing anyone in the Big Ten or Notre Dame. Go Irish.
Phil, I just wanted you to know that of all the managers, you're my very favorite. You've brought a lot of joy into the office, and we all feel comfortable when you come in. You're always laughing and joking and always in a terrific mood. And most managers aren't like that, so you're very unique in that respect. And I will miss you very much.
Like a breeze, country roads, take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia,
My advice for Kevin House as he steps into the leadership role following Phil would be do a careful search of the office and burn any of that Ohio State crap that he leaves behind.